What is up, everybody? My name is Logan Strom. Welcome to CTS Strom Talks Football. Today I'm going to be giving you guys every NFL team's biggest need in this upcoming NFL draft. I'm sorry if my voice sounds a little off. I kind of lost it, but I'm starting to kind of get it back, but also not really. I just came back from WrestleMania 41 from Las Vegas, and trust me, we'll get into that tomorrow. But since the NFL draft is right around the corner, I wanted to give you guys my every single NFL team's biggest need. I'm not going specific player here. I'm just going to be giving you guys every single position that every NFL team needs the most. There are teams that need a lot of them, but I'm going to try to figure out which one, like what position they need the most out of this draft. Like which position they should go for in the first round. So let's not waste any more time. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos whenever I post. Roll that out of the way. Let's get started. Alright, so here we are at the tier list, and I wanted to do it tier list style just because it's super quick and simple. All I got is one tier, and it says draft needs. I'm just going to be going team by team and giving you basically their biggest need in this draft. So the very first team we've got here is the Indianapolis Colts. People might say a different position on the defensive side here, but I'm going to go with a game-changing linebacker. Like, they need some kind of game changer at the linebacker position to control that defense, because last year their defense was historically atrocious for that Colts team and that Colts franchise, and they just need that new face, that new captain in that defensive side that will hopefully help stop the run, because that was a huge disadvantage for them, and overall just make their defense better. So I'm going to go with a linebacker. Up next, we've got the Houston Texans, and I'm going to go with offensive linemen. They just lost Laramie Tunsil in a trade. They need offensive lineman help. Their offensive line as it was absolutely terrible, so they just need some offensive lineman help to make that offensive line better. Helps CJ Stroud, helps that whole offense as a whole. Up next, we've got the Arizona Cardinals, and I'm going to go with a corner. They don't really have anyone really special at corner, and their DBs just aren't that good. So having a game-changing corner would be very nice. Also, this might not be important for the first round, but for the second round, I wouldn't mind seeing them go for a second receiver, because other than Marvin Harrison Jr., which I think will bounce back this upcoming season, they have nobody at wide receiver. So having a second receiver in there will definitely help them. But if we're talking first round, I think they should go for a corner. Up next, we got the Chicago Bears, and they need offensive line, and they need it badly. Their offensive line last year was an absolute joke, and it really showed why Caleb Williams had a little bit of limitations when it came to getting the ball out of his hands. Now, they did get Joe Thuney from the Kansas City Chiefs, and Darnell Wright is still around, but other than Darnell Wright, their offensive line was terrible. And I don't think him and Joe Thuney is enough to keep this offensive line as solid, to a solid offensive line, so they need to go for some more help. Up next, we got the Cincinnati Bengals, and I know this sounds repetitive, but offensive linemen. Like, if you watched the Bengals last season, you would know that Joe Burrow hardly had any time to get the ball out of his hands, and that was because of their terrible offensive line. It's been like that for years. Like, the fact that Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase threw up career numbers last season and they still didn't make the playoffs is a huge issue. It also could be a coaching issue, but if we're talking positions, they need to get some offensive line, because if you want to keep Joe Burrow around for the rest of your future that he has, and same with Jamar Chase, you've got to get that offensive line in control, because these last 4 years, it's been a terrible situation and they have almost done nothing to fix it. Up next, we got the Los Angeles Rams, and they need somebody in their secondary, like a corner or a safety, because if you look at their offense, it hardly has any flaws. It looks really good. Obviously, Stafford's still good. Kyren Williams a beast. They got two really solid receivers out of Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams. Tyler Higbee hopefully being healthy. And honestly, their offensive line is pretty solid. And then when you look at their defense, their defensive line is pretty solid. And their linebackers are okay. But their biggest weakness, in my opinion, is their secondary, because even though it's not terrible, it's also not great. So if they can get somebody that can reach up to the next level in the draft, it will help the Rams tremendously. Up next, we got the San Francisco 49ers, and I feel like Niners fans have been saying this for years now. Offensive line. Trent Williams cannot be your only source of offensive line. You need more support. Now, sure, Dominic Puny was really solid this year, so sorry for leaving him out. But other than that, you knew how the offensive line looked when either Trent or Dominic were out or just hurt. That line was shit. They need some more help. It will help Brock Purdy make more plays, and it will help defend Brock Purdy more of why they're about to pay him as much as people think they're going to pay him. Like, they need offensive line support, and they need it now. Up next, we got the Atlanta Falcons, and I've got an interesting one here. I would usually say a linebacker or somebody on the defensive line, but honestly, this one I think would stir the pot a little bit. This one might be controversial, but I think they're going to pick up a tight end. And if it's at the right pick, it's going to be a damn good one too, because they need to try to get somebody to try to replace Kyle Pitts. Because let's be honest, Kyle Pitts has just not been good, man. He's been really overrated. He just hasn't been good. And unless the Falcons just try to fight on like a decision and try to go for a replacement, the Falcons are just basically telling the fans that they're okay with mediocrity, and Kyle Pitts has honestly become that mediocrity. This might not be the right pick, but it's the most interesting pick. I think they will go for a tight end. Up next, we got the Seattle Seahawks, and I think they should go for an offensive lineman. I know I've been saying this a lot, but a lot of teams need offensive linemen, let's be honest. And the Seattle Seahawks, if they get an offensive lineman, I feel like it would give Sam Darnold more of an advantage, and it would make him feel more comfortable because he is going to a brand new position, and he's going to a new team that is honestly, in my opinion, not as good as coaching-wise as the Vikings. But this will be a new situation for Sam Darnold, and he needs to be as comfortable as possible. I wouldn't mind seeing the Seahawks going for another wide receiver, probably in like the second round. But if we're talking first round, they should go for a lineman. Up next, we got the Baltimore Ravens, and this one's kind of tough because it's kind of hard to say like what their biggest need is because they have a lot of talent at every position. But knowing the Ravens, they're going to go with defense, and I think they're going to go with a second linebacker to be right next to Roquan Smith. And honestly, they could need it too because other than Roquan Smith, they don't really have anyone else at the linebacker position. I mean, Roquan Smith himself is already a top 5 linebacker in football. So to have another really good linebacker by his side would really help them out. I mean, if you want to see it in like real time, you can look at the Niners in like 2 years ago when they had Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw. That's 2 top 10 linebackers on the same team. So if the Ravens can have that, that would be really, really good for them. Up next, we got the Buffalo Bills, and honestly, they need somebody in their secondary because other than DeMar Hamlin, who really did have an impressive season last year, he was really good. Other than him, their secondary is shit, let's be honest. I could also see them going for a wide receiver because other than possibly Keon Coleman, they really have nothing special at the receiver position, but I think they need the secondary positions even more. Go for a corner. Go for safety. It will really help out your defense for sure, especially if you're going against the Ravens or the Chiefs. Up next, we got the Dallas Cowboys, and oh boy, they need a lot. They need a lot for sure. They need offensive line. They need defensive line. They need secondary help. Honestly, I'm going to go with one that's probably the most beneficial to them right now, and I think that would be a defensive line. So I think they need to get a defensive lineman, especially the fact that they have Matt Eberflus as a defensive coordinator. He was an absolute terrible head coach, but he definitely knows ball when it comes to defense. So having him as a defensive coordinator helps out a lot. But also having a defensive tackle getting drafted, if it's like a star one, imagine what a star defensive tackle can do for their defense. It can help them be better on defense as a whole. I mean, yeah, they have Micah Parsons, and he's obviously great, but he can't be the only source of star power on that team. Even Trayvon Diggs didn't have the best season last year. They need somebody really good on that defensive line, and I think it would really help them out. Up next, we got the Minnesota Vikings, and they have had a hell of an offseason. A lot of good, tiny bit of bad, but overall, they've had a really good one. And honestly, they would really benefit if they added somebody to that really good defense. And honestly, they need a linebacker because, let's be honest, Dallas Turner was absolutely awful last year, and he was a bust. But honestly, it's just his first year, so even if he ends up being really good, that'll be even better. But honestly, it would be even more better if they added somebody else to that linebacker core, just in case if Dallas Turner just was not the right pick. Or if Dallas Turner actually is improving to where if they have 2 really good linebackers, it will really help the Vikings. So I think they should go for a linebacker. Up next, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they need corners, and they need them badly. I mean, they still do have a very solid secondary. They have Jordan Whitehead and especially Antoine Winfield Jr. at the safety positions, but they have really nobody at the corner position. So if they can get somebody really good in that secondary to be a corner, it will just make their defense a whole lot better, and the Buccaneers can take that next step from being a little bit above average to one of those great teams. Up next, we got the Cleveland Browns. They need a lot, but this is the first one we're going to say quarterback. They definitely need a quarterback. Deshaun Watson is not even going to be around this year, most likely, so they need to find that replacement. They need to find that guy that's going to take them to the next level, hopefully, because that Deshaun Watson experiment was a disaster. They already know it, so they need to find that next replacement in the draft. They're going to go for a quarterback. I could assure you that. Up next, we got the Detroit Lions, and I think they need to add on to that secondary because Brian Branch is very good. And Terrion Arnold is also pretty solid, I think. He could still be solid. And honestly, just to make them better, I think they should go for someone more else on that secondary. I think if they can improve on their secondary, their defense will get a whole lot better. And they will help compete even more with those high-level teams. Up next, we got the Denver Broncos. And they have had a really good offseason as well. And there's two positions that really scream out to me for their biggest need, and they're two that are very important: wide receiver or running back. They need to get one of those two. I personally think they're going to go with a running back, and if they can draft up for him. I think they can get a Sean Genty, or they can get Jidkins. I really hope I said that right. But they need to get a top running back because, let's be honest, Javonte Williams sucks. He will not be good, and he will not continue to be their guy. They need to find a running back. They can also benefit from getting a wide receiver as well because they really don't have anyone special at receiver other than Cortland Sutton. They need to find someone else for that receiver position, somebody that's going to be a game changer. But if we're talking like they need it more, I would say they need a running back more than receivers. So I'm going to go with a running back. Next, we got the Kansas City Chiefs, and they need somebody new in that secondary because they have lost some talent in the secondary during this offseason, and also in the Super Bowl, their secondary got annihilated by the Philadelphia Eagles. So if they're wanting to improve from last year's Super Bowl disaster, they're going to want to improve on the main thing that caused them to lose the Super Bowl, and one of those things is the secondary. They're going to go with somebody in the secondary for sure. Up next, we got the Miami Dolphins. They need offensive line. They've needed it for years. They've needed it for the longest time, and they've never done anything to fix it. The offensive line is honestly one of the main reasons why Tua has had so many concussions. Like, they can't protect him. Like, they need to find that number one guy that's going to get them the offensive line support they need. They desperately need offensive line help here. Up next, we've got the New England Patriots. They either need an offensive lineman or they need a wide receiver. They need one of those two. They need some offensive line help to help protect Drake May a little bit more because, let's be honest, their offensive line was awful. So they need somebody to help out in the offensive line. And also they need a wide receiver because Stephon Diggs just can't be that only one guy to help your team succeed because he's still good, but he's not a number one guy anymore. He can't stay healthy as long, and he just isn't as good as he used to be. So they need a number one guy at the receiver position. But if I have to make a decision right now, I would say their biggest need right now is their offensive line. They need help. Next, we got the Philadelphia Eagles, and they need secondary help because they lost C.J. Gardner-Johnson, so they have a little bit of a hole in their secondary now. Like, they need to fill up in the secondary. They need a new safety. Other than that, they're honestly pretty solid at every single position, so that's the only one I can really name. Next, we got the Washington Commanders, and if there's any team that needs secondary the most, it's probably the Commanders because they have had a really good offseason. They've gotten a second wide receiver in Deebo Samuel. They got a star lineman in Laramie Tunsil, but they just need that one extra piece on that defense to really push them forward. And right now it is at the safety position or the corner position, one of the two. They just need somebody there to help support that secondary. Like, they just need it badly. Next, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers. Unless they go with Aaron Rodgers here, they're going to go with quarterback. And honestly, this is the one position, this is the one time where I can honestly see them going for one specific person, and that is Jalen Milroe. I think they're going to get him from Alabama. And honestly, with the potential he has, he can fit perfectly in that Pittsburgh offense situation. He can fit perfectly there. Unless they're stupid and go with a 42, 43-year-old washed up Aaron Rodgers, they're going to want to go with a brand new quarterback, and who better than Jalen Milroe, honestly. Next, we got the Green Bay Packers, and they need a wide receiver, dude. Like, I know Jalen Reed was very hit or miss, but when he missed hard. And other than that, they have nobody at wide receiver. They need a game changer wide receiver. They need to stop investing in Christian Watson because let's be honest, he sucks. He will never be good. He will only have like that one highlight catch. And that's probably all he's ever going to have. Like, he's not a good wide receiver, and they need to invest on somebody brand new with a lot of potential. They need a wide receiver. Next, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars. This one's very tough because they need a lot. Honestly, I'm going to say probably, I don't know, man. I got to think about it for a second. I got two different positions. I either got offensive lineman or somebody in their secondary as like a corner or safety because both of those were extremely weak last year and they just need both of them very badly. I'd be honest and just I would probably go with an offensive lineman, especially with how high of a draft pick they have. I think they would benefit very much if they got one because other than that, their defense is pretty solid on paper. But they just need somebody to add to that secondary if they want to go with defense, and they need to add somebody on the offensive line if they want to go with offense. But I will make this promise here. If Trevor Lawrence does not step up his game, they will find a quarterback next season. I promise you that. Next, we got the Carolina Panthers. This is also another team that needs a lot of help. But honestly, the one main position I have in my head right now is wide receiver because, let's be honest, like Adam Thielen just can't be that number one guy, dude. He's so old. It's very impressive of how well he's playing, but he's just so out of his prime. He just can't be that number one guy, dude. He's going to get killed. He already got injured last year. And I really, really don't like Xavier Legette, dude. I thought he sucked. I think he's trash, and I don't think he will ever be good. So they just need to find someone new at that wide receiver position. They would really benefit because other than that, the Panthers are looking a whole lot better, and honestly, I got pretty decent high hopes for them this season. Not anything like huge, but like a lot better than last year. Next we got the Raiders, dude. They need a wide receiver. They need a running back. They need offensive linemen. They need a linebacker. They need a corner or a safety, and they need so much, dude. It's hard to say one main thing. Like any of those would work at the first round. Like. Honestly, I think they will be kind of dumb and try to go with the star power, like the flashy power, like the flashy picks. I think they're going to go with the running back, but if you have to be honest, they have to. I don't know. It's really hard to say because they need a lot. Any of those positions will work. Next, we got the Los Angeles Chargers, and I think they need to get a defensive lineman because they lost Joey Bosa. They lost like basically the last remaining talent on that defensive line. They need to find somebody brand new, somebody younger, somebody that has a lot of potential, somebody that has a lot of talent. They need somebody on that defensive line to pressure every single team they face because especially the fact that they're in a very tough division with teams like the Chiefs, obviously, and also the Broncos looking really good, really strong. So they need to keep up with having somebody really good on that defensive line. Up next, we got the New Orleans Saints, and honestly, I was going to go with offensive lineman or something else, but after what I heard about Derek Carr, I think they're going to get a quarterback. I think we're going to basically get him out, he's basically going to become an afterthought. And honestly, I'm perfectly fine with it. I have never been that big of a fan of Derek Carr as soon as he became a Saint because the whole time he has been on our team, he has been pretty shit, honestly. He has not been a good quarterback. And I can honestly say now, he is one of the most overrated quarterbacks in football. So yeah, I think we're going to go with somebody brand new. I have been hearing about Dart being like our main quarterback choice, but honestly, I really don't have a name yet. I just know that the Saints are probably going to go with a quarterback. Up next, we got the New York Giants, and this is the biggest quarterback need out of all the teams. They desperately need a quarterback. They're the number one team that needs a quarterback out of all the teams in this league. And honestly, this is also another one where I have a name I can give out, and I don't like it because I really don't like this player, and that is Shedeur Sanders. I've never liked Shedeur Sanders. I always thought he was a douchebag that lives up with the hype of his father's name. Like, I've always thought he was a douche, but honestly, if he lives up to potential he has, cleans up his act, I think he would be good in New York, so they're desperately going for a quarterback. Up next, we got the New York Jets. I really don't know. Like, they desperately need an offensive lineman. They need somebody on that defense. They need a lot of help. But I'm mostly going to go with offensive line, but knowing their owner and knowing their luck with offensive linemen, it's going to be the wrong choice. And also another reason why it's going to be a wrong choice is because their owner and their manager are fucking morons. Like, I really don't know what to say. And finally, we've got the Tennessee Titans. A lot of people are saying that they're going to go with a quarterback. I disagree. I think they're going to give Will Levis one last shot. So in that case, I think they're going to go with either a wide receiver or they're going to go with a offensive lineman. They need a lot of help, but those are the two things that really come to mind to me right now, and I think they would really benefit from it. So I think they're going to give Will Levis another shot, and they're going to give him some offensive line help or a wide receiver to throw the ball to. And there you guys have it. That was me giving you guys every single NFL team's biggest need in this upcoming NFL draft. I'm sorry if my audio sounds like shit. I know my voice is just almost gone. Like, it's kind of hard to keep up just because of how gone my voice is. Like, trust me, we'll get into WrestleMania tomorrow. That's the main reason why my voice is gone as it is. But yeah, like, I just wanted to make it work, and I wanted to give you guys a video because it has been a few days, and it's been a while since I've given you something football related, so I just wanted to get this out. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know down below what your favorite NFL team's biggest draft need in your opinion is. I would love to know, and I would love to debate. But that's all going to be done for the day. My throat is getting very sore. I hope you guys have a great day. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, turn on notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos whenever I post. I'm Logan Sharon. I'll see you next time.